The Greenskins are a barbaric and primitive group of races, consisting of orcs, goblins, and other biologically similar beings. Orcs are savage and brutish creatures, typically stupider than a man but much taller and stronger. Goblins are the antithesis of this, small in stature and physically weak, but wily, creative, and intelligent creatures. Due to their natural aggression and general lack of civility, Greenskins form tribal societies where the biggest and strongest orcs dominate. Infighting and civil wars are common, but every so often, a war boss comes along who is powerful and cunning enough to unite the Greenskin tribes. Their love of battle always leads these tribal unifications to an inevitable conclusion: giant crusades that threaten to engulf the Warhammer world in an unstoppable green tide. Khorne is war incarnate, a god of martial excellence and arguably the most powerful divine being in the Warhammer universe. Whereas the powers of other chaos gods wax and wane, Khorne has continuously grown in power since his inception in the warp, as the Warhammer world has never truly known peace. Every drop of blood spilt, every man, orc, or creature that dies on the battlefield, every small skirmish or titanic conflict, they all contribute to his greatness. The followers of Khorne are warriors, without exception, forged in the fires of battle in Norsca and the Great Chaos Wastes. They do not pray, they do not build temples. They venerate Khorne solely with the deaths of his enemies. Blood for the Blood God, skulls for the Skull Throne. Chaos marches to war. Here we go, guys. The Khorne vs. Greenskins faction war has finally begun. Indie Pride is commanding the followers of Khorne, and Vodgojira will be commanding the Greenskins. So just a reminder that these first set of battles will be fought at Tier 1, which means that for Khorne, the army must consist of a Chaos Knight General, Marauders, Mace and Shield unit for Khorne, Marauder Desolators, which are a two-handed axe unit, Gores, which are a Beastmen, dual-wielding meat shield kind of unit, and then the Ungors with spears. So Indie Pride's army consists of a Chaos Knight General, 3 Gores, 2 Ungors with spears, 6 Marauders, and 3 Marauder Desolators. Vodgojira will be commanding 4 Orc Boys, 3 Orc Spear Boys, 2 Savage Orcs, 2 Goblin Spears, 4 Goblin Archers, and 1 Big Gun General. So the Khorne vs. Greenskins faction matchup is going to be very interesting because both factions have very clear, distinct advantages in different areas of the battlefield. The Greenskins have a clear advantage in the range component and in the melee component. The big guns are going to be anchoring the main line for the Greenskins. They have 2 hit points, very good melee attack and defense stats, so they're going to be a terror to deal with for the Khorne followers. Savage Orcs are a great flanking force, low armor, but very fast and very good charge bonus, and the big guns, again, are going to be the main line that kind of holds the entire Greenskin force together. Looking at Khorne, they are very low armor all across the board. 1 armor or 0 armor on all of their mainline units, which is a problem for them, which means that Night Goblins and the Orc Boys, who have 5 armor, are going to be able to do quite a lot of damage to the main line of Khorne. Now, Khorne has one big advantage in this fight, and this is the Chaos Knight General, and we know in Medieval 2 how important heavy cavalry is. There's no cavalry on the field right now except for the Khorne followers in the Chaos Knight General, and the Chaos Knight General is a very strong cavalry unit, not just at Tier 1, but at higher tiers as well. So this is going to be a big advantage for the Khorne followers in the fact that the Chaos Knight is going to have free reign across the battlefield, being able to charge what it wants, when it wants. Now, there are some ways the Greenskins can counter a tactic like this. Greenskins have some of the best meat shields in the game with the Night Goblins. Very cheap units, very numerous, and extremely fast. Night Goblin Spears are almost as fast as cavalry units in this mod. So the Chaos Knight is going to be looking to get some huge hammer and anvils off, but if Vodgojira meat shields appropriately, he's going to be able to block a lot of the charges of the Chaos Knight, and it's going to make it very hard for it to charge high value targets like the Orc Boys on the main line or the Big Guns. Now, Big Guns are 2 hit point units, and they do have high armor, and they do have great melee defense, but if they're continuously charged by a Chaos Knight General, that's going to be a big issue for the Greenskins. So one of the biggest things with the Greenskins, they do have morale problems, but that's going to be the same with Khorne as well. A lot of low tier units on the field here at Tier 1. especially the Gors and Ungors. Like I said, very low armor, 1 armor or 0 armor, all the way across the line. So there will probably be some mass routing this game. If we look at what Khorne is doing right now, he's spreading the field into 2 separate components. He split his army in 2, basically. The Chaos Knight and some of the Meat Shield, Gor, and Ungor units, and some of the Marauder Desolators are over on one flank, and then the rest of the army is over on the other flank. And what he's trying to do here is make the Greenskins split up and kind of get spread out all over the field. If the Greenskins get really spread out, that's going to make it a lot easier for the Chaos Knight to come in and charge exactly where it wants to. Gojira is doing the right thing here. He's staying very compact, making sure that his entire army stays close to his spears and close to his big guns where those 2 units can support very easily and kind of tie down the Chaos Knight. If he's spread out all over the field, it's going to mean that some of his units get isolated, and when the Chaos Knight has free reign to charge what it wants, it's going to be a huge issue for the Greenskins. Meat Shield's coming in right now. Ungors and Gors with Spears coming in, charging in, and up on the other flank as well, some Ungors charging in. Now these are very low armor, no shield block chance, so they will die very quickly, but they're a decent Meat Shield unit. They do have some good melee stats. They just have poor morale and poor shield block chance. Marauder Desolators charging in, good charge from them, but there is a bug in Medieval 2, at least in the Call of Warhammer mod, where only the front line of axes will charge sometimes. So you saw that right there. It wasn't as good a charge as they possibly could have got, only the front line charged, but the melee engagement has started in earnest now. Ungors over on one flank charged into some Savage Orcs. That should go relatively well for Khorne, and the Chaos Knight is looking for some openings to get in. They are getting tied down by some of the Orc boys at the moment. It doesn't want to leave them in there too long because they didn't get a good charge bonus off there. And all across the line, Night Goblins in melee. Not a great charge there from the Ungors with Spears actually into the back of their own men. Not great. And some more Ungors with Spears charging up the center into the Night Goblin Spears. 2 Meat Shield units. This is not going to be a very important engagement, but the Ungors are actually trying to pull through here, trying to get to the Goblin Archers. Not sure if they're going to be able to pull through that, but Night Goblins do have low mass, so they might be able to. Ungor is charging into the flanks. It's a good charge there. It's going to help him win the engagement over on this side. And it looks like the Greenskin army over on this side is outnumbered, but it is important to remember that Gojira has a bunch of Goblin Archers over on that flank shooting in. All the low armor units for Khorne are going to get shredded by Night Goblin Archer ammunition. The crazy thing is that Night Goblin Archers are not a fantastic archer unit by any means, but they are going to be able to do a lot of damage this game, probably if Gojira uses them correctly, just because everything has such a poor shield block chance or low armor. Big Guns, wrapping up an engagement over on that flank very, very quickly, and it looks like the Chaos Knights have found a gap here. Let's see where they're going to go. It looks like they're going to charge into some Night Goblin Archers. Not a great charge there, actually. The Night Goblins try to pull away, and remember that Night Goblins are very fast. Not that much slower than heavy cavalry units in Call of Warhammer, so it can be kind of tricky to get good charge bonuses off if Gojira or any Night Goblin player pulls away with them appropriately, and he did so there, so that was pretty good. Chaos Knight's coming in for a hammer and anvil into the back of the Orc boys over on this side. If he could get this Blau routing right here, that would be very nice for Khorne. Chaos Knight didn't get quite as good a charge there as he could have, but it is going to cause some wavering, some routing actually on the Orc boy line right there. Orc boys by themselves do not have great morale. You really need the rally from the big guns to really keep them in the fight for a very long time. So hammer and anvil from the Chaos Knight General definitely doing some damage there, causing some routing on the Greenskin line. And another charge into the back of the Night Goblin Spears in the main center of the formation might cause some more routing there. Over on this side, it's pretty even, but the Night Goblin Archers are shooting in, and the interesting thing about Night Goblins is that they each have 250 men in the unit. So like I said, they aren't an amazing archer unit in and of themselves, but they have roughly 50% more archers in a unit compared to other units. So they actually do quite a bit of damage when they're skirmishing just because they have so many more men. I think a normal unit of archers would have like 150 men, 120, 150, something like that, and then Night Goblins have 250, so that is a big deal for sure. Chaos Knight have now really started making their presence felt. They're hitting units all over the line, all across the battlefield for the Greenskins, and Gojira has not done a fantastic job so far of tracking them down and keeping them shut down with the Night Goblin Spears. That is the most effective counter to the Chaos Knights. It's not that a single unit of Night Goblin Spears can kill the Chaos Knight, but it can tie them down and make them kind of circle around and not find the targets that they really want to. So if you meat shield appropriately, you can make sure that Chaos Knight doesn't do as much damage as it normally could. Huge charge here into the middle of the Night Goblin Archer formation. That is going to take them down all the way down to about 60 men in the unit from 250. God, that killed like 200 men on the charge there. That was massive. So that unit is going to just run from the field straight off the bat. Really good charge from the Chaos Knights there. And the balance bar is shifted very much in Gojira's favor. You look at it, it's almost 65-25 or 65-35 right now. Great math, Andy Pride. Big Guns doing quite well in their melee engagement there. They've really helped wrap up that flank over there. But the General just died for Gojira. That's going to be a big issue. General death for Greenskins can cause a lot of mass wavering. A lot of their units do have low morale until you get to the higher tiers. So we'll see if that causes any problem. You don't want to be losing your General this early in the fight. But balance bar is so far in Greenskins' favor at the moment. But there has been nothing to shut down the Chaos Knights. They still have free reign in the back. Another charge into the Greenskin Goblin Archers right here. You can see how fast they are, how quickly they pull away. Was still a great charge, and he is going to rout this unit. They're down to about 150 men, and they're going to pull away. We'll see if they come back from routing. Gojira would definitely like them to, because 150 Goblin Archers can do quite a bit of damage now that the Khorne line has been so depleted. You look at this. Most of these Khorne units are down to about 40 or 30 men left in the unit. They are going to wrap up this flank against the Big Guns. If they get a charge here from the Chaos Knight, see if any Bride can get them under control quickly. Yep, looks like they're coming in. See how good a charge they get into the back of the Big Guns here. This should rout the Big Gun unit. Really good charge there. You can see some of the Big Guns get flown up. Hit points probably down to 0 for the most part. Yeah, they're going to rout. Routing on the line for the Greenskins. That's going to bring this back more in line to an even battle here, I think. But Greenskins still do have the advantage. They still have the numbers on the field, and they still have 2 full-strength archer units in the back of the forest there shooting into this blob of Chaos Warriors. Savage Orcs in a flanking position. Good job from Gojira there to run into the flank of the Khorne units. There's some routing there. Yep, the Gores, the Beastmen are routing at the moment. Marauder Desolator is going to charge in. Poor charge there. They really didn't get their charge bonus off at all. But it actually looks like Khorne is going to take the center of the field here. A lot of really depleted units, though. Yep, only like 20 or 30 men in a lot of these units. A couple of more half-strength units, but most of them are depleted all the way to the end there. And that means that these archer units that Gojira still has on the field are probably going to make a lot of impact here in the late game. Complete surround off on those Savage Orcs. They are fighting to the death. As soon as there's an opening here, the Orc Spear Boys and the Savage Orcs should rout. And it looks like the center engagement has been won by Khorne. And the biggest deal is that the Chaos Knight General is still almost at full strength. That's going to be a big deal here in late game situations. I don't know how much Gojira has to deal with that. He has the archers and he has some spears. And it is important to note, another important point about the Night Goblin Archers is that they use spears as a secondary weapon. To be completely honest, I'm not sure if those spears have a bonus versus cavalry, but they do have very fast animations, and they can stun lock units like the Chaos Knight with those fast attack animations. So we'll see if that comes into play later on as well. But so far, Chaos Knights have destroyed about 3 or 4 entire full-strength units of goblins, really racking up the kills there. But not a lot of melee troops left for Khorne either. So 250 Night Goblin Archers right there. 250 engaged by the Chaos Knights in the back. Looks like they're routing there. This might be even good for Gojira though, because if they come back from routing, that means they're going to be in a better position to shoot at. We'll see if Any Pride notices that those routing units come back. I'm not sure that they're going to come back though. Another charge from Chaos Knights up the center. This should be devastating. 173 men in that Night Goblin unit. Yeah, they're just driving all the way through that formation. And this unit should definitely rout very soon. Down to 90 men. But Chaos Knight is starting to get depleted a little bit here. I believe they've lost about 15 men. And as the battle wears on, they're going to be losing even more. Night Goblin's down to 70. And maybe the biggest issue actually is the Chaos Knight is exhausted, which means they are not fast, and Night Goblins will be able to outrun them at this point. So the speed of the Greenskins is what's really going to help them in this late game situation. If you can get away, get onto a high ground, and start shooting into the very depleted units on the Khorne main line, he can definitely win this. But it depends which of his Night Goblin archers don't rout. You can see some of them have come back, and that is a big deal because now the Khorne followers have a long way to traverse to get back into melee with these Goblin archers. So this Goblin archer right here, yep, it's racking up a lot of kills. I'm not sure how many kills it has at this point. There are no unit cards, but yeah, there's another unit of Night Goblins that just came back from routing as well, shooting in. We'll see if Indie Pride can notice it. Looks like the Khorne followers have noticed it. Chaos Knight's turning around to go engage them. Mistake from Indie Pride there. He's turning his flank to one of the Goblin archers. More shots into the back of his main line. This is going to be up to the Chaos Knights. The main infantry line for Khorne is not going to be able to catch up to these Night Goblin archers, and they probably have a lot of ammunition still. Ammunition not really being a problem in Call of Warhammer. Most units, at least archer units, have plenty of ammunition. Here we go, big charge from the Chaos Knight General. They were at 27 men going into this engagement, but actually that volley did a lot of damage from the Night Goblins there. I believe the Chaos Knights are down to about 18 men. I think that killed about 9 or 10 men in that volley. Chaos Knights are getting whittled down here. Night Goblins are as well, of course, that charge did a ton of damage. But those fast attack animations and the damage from the bow and arrows really doing quite a bit of damage here, and that toll is being felt by the Chaos Knights. I don't know if they're going to be able to survive until the end of this battle. They're getting shot up to pieces right now. So he probably doesn't want to leave them in melee with the Night Goblin archers, which sounds silly. But they have such good attack animation, so quick, that, and the Chaos Knights are getting so depleted. I think he wants to save those, so he might want to pull out really soon here. There are some Chaos Marauders in the back, gonna get a hammer and anvil off here, but I don't know if they're gonna get their charge bonus. The medieval 2 charge bonus is so wonky sometimes. They're actually just gonna walk into melee combat. But that's good. He did tie down the Night Goblins, gonna let some infantry do the damage now, and we'll see if he decides to pull out the Chaos Knights. He's left them in so far. Might be a mistake there, honestly. General, yep, it was a mistake. General's dead. That's a big deal for Khorne as well. Morale penalty is going to kick in across the main line, and all these depleted Khorne units, that could be a huge issue. We'll see if there's going to be some wavering. There are a few Chaos Marauders tied up with this other Night Goblin Archer unit. This Goblin Archer unit is going to be a problem as well. Almost full strength. That was the unit that got routed earlier. I think maybe it has 180 men or so left in the unit. But let's see here. Yeah, this Marauder, only a handful have gotten into melee so far. Night Goblin Archers are really not having any issue in melee. They have such good attack animations, and Marauders are exhausted, so they're really not fighting to their full potential here. And this is going to be really close. This is going to come down to the wire. More Night Goblin Archers routing. This time, if Indie Pride's smart, he's going to make sure they route off the field completely. Don't let them come back. They've already caused too much damage. Just chase them to the red line, make sure they get off the field completely. And that means if he gets that unit off the field, there will be 1 Night Goblin Archer unit left. Looks like there are 120 men left, so it's a half-strength Night Goblin versus 2 or 3 units of Chaos Marauders that only have 15 or 20 men left in the unit, and 1 Chaos Knight with only 15 or so left. It's less than that, it's at 13, I think. So this Chaos Knight General, I don't know if they're going to be able to do the damage to kill this Night Goblin. It sounds so silly because it's a half-strength Night Goblin unit, not a high-tier unit at all, but in late-game situations against these already depleted units, they're actually not doing bad in melee at all. This unit is going to rout, so it is going to be that last half-strength Night Goblin unit, and let's see if the followers of Khorne can track it down, tie it down in melee, and cut it to pieces. More charges coming in here. Marauder Desolator, just a handful of them, just a handful of Marauders. And actually, they're still shooting, even though they're tied down in melee. The back ranks of the Night Goblins are shooting in, causing even more damage. We'll see if the Marauders can hold on here. There's so few left. Morale penalties are probably going to kick in very soon for them. We'll see if they can hold it up in melee. They're cutting through some of the Night Goblins right now. Definitely doing some damage. But yeah, you can see some of them, though, especially the ones that got deep into the formation, getting stun locked, and Night Goblins are still firing. Yeah, there's some wavering right here. 8 Marauders routing right there. Yeah, they're both. Oh, there's mass wavering on the line of Khorne followers right now. Mass wavering. There's another unit coming in here, but they're not in melee. And again, low armor, so the Night Goblins might be able to shoot them and rout them before they get into melee. But the Chaos Knight is coming back. It is going to be charging into the flank if it can get there in time. Hopefully before the rest of the Khorne followers rout off the field completely. Good volley from the Night Goblins here. Very good volley. You can see, oh, that did so much damage. That did so much damage. And they're actually walking right now. Let's see if he gets them under control. Khorne followers charging in. There will be one more volley that comes in. 22 down to 16, 15, 12, 13. I think they're going to rout on yeah, they're routing. This is going to be up to the Chaos Knight. Chaos Knight versus Night Goblins. Chaos Knights are coming in from the flank. Charging in now. Let's see what they can do. Night Goblins are not braced for it, and they're going to charge all the way through. Oh, they're just driving all the way through the formation. Oh, Night Goblins routed. Chaos Knights take the field. That was insane. That battle was insane. Just a handful of Chaos Knights. 12 Chaos Knights left on the field. That's it. Everything else is completely routed. Absolutely insane battle. Oh, what a battle. Okay, lots to talk about here. Chaos Knights did make their presence felt. You could say that 100 times over. I believe they got 930 kills this game. A bunch of them were on Night Goblins, so not the highest tier of units, obviously, and 250 men in each unit. But they destroyed so many of the Greenskin line. But I think that kind of asymmetrical tier system is working out really well. I thought it was really interesting. It made for a very, very close battle. Each faction had its own advantages and disadvantages, about as close as as a battle can possibly get. Just absolutely insane. 12 men left on the field to win it. Chaos Knights, last men alive, general unit for Indie Pride. Really amazing battle, and believe me, there are going to be more amazing battles to come. Khorne vs Greenskins, this faction war is going to be a lot of fun. Hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. Blood for the Blood God, skulls for the Skull Throne.